Max von Sydow for that part and shot that. You know, and that was later on when I was in New York, because Bergman started his films and I had already left for New York. He'd done some of the early ones earlier, but I went in '58. So yeah.
But you, as a Swedish person, were extremely lucky to get as many jobs, because I know, being English, I was always told there's not a lot of work for you, you're English, but you luckily got to play Germans and all kinds of strange people.
Yeah, that was the road in. So it's like, that was the beginning for me. It was like playing that German, and then of course I was typecast, because Hollywood is like, they see one part and they say, oh wow, we'll get Brundin for the German, you know. And then I got the Russian parts, and I had no problem with the Russian accent. I mean, I don't speak Russian, so when I did Meteor, I was offered the Russian part, but I said no. I said Brian Keith took that part. And he did a fairly good job with the Russian, and Natalie Wood, it was one of her last films, and her mother is Russian and she speaks some Russian, so she was able to speak Russian in that. But I said no, I don't want to tackle that, because to speak a fake Russian that isn't good, I don't want to do that. So I took the part of Mannheim, which is a German part of a scientist. So I did the right-hand man to Sean Connery in this film, and it was in '76. And we had just bought the house in Burbank, and figuring that we'd be living right in the middle of all the Hollywood studios and stuff like that. And here I get the part at MGM, which is the furthest away studio. And then the interesting thing with Meteor, it's about a meteor that's coming towards Earth, and the Americans have rockets pointing at Russia, and Russia has rockets pointing at America. So they coordinate them and they shoot the rockets. So what I do is I save the world. My name in German is Mannheim, man's home, but I drown in the mud. So I save the earth, I save the world, but I also drown in it, because the mud comes in from the East River. And it breaks down and I sink, you know. Anyway, so that was a good one. That was like almost 6 weeks work there. But for each job, I think in Hollywood, it was like, when's the next one? Am I going to do another one? It was almost like, I don't know. But then they came along, and it's like, and I freelanced for all that period of time, actually.
Went to Canada.
You went to Canada first?
I took a look at Canada and said, I'm no good for being a lumberjack.
I filmed in Vancouver in Canada. My God, it was like Sweden. Weekends. I mean, they were so drunk downtown Vancouver. It was like, you know, oh, I'm back in Sweden. That's what it felt like.
There's a little good in everybody, isn't there?
Oh.
I heard that you did something that no other foreign actor that I know about has done. You did something at the Smithsonian Institute that has now made you immortal. How did that come about?
It happened year 2000. It was just before we moved from the States to Sweden, back to Sweden. And it was the year of the Vikings. It was like 1,000 years ago, the Vikings came over from Europe, from Scandinavia. And I was called in to do a voiceover for, they had a cartoon that they were going to show at the Smithsonian Institution with a Viking talking to an Irish monk about the Vikings and the travel of the Vikings. And I got a call, and it came out of New York to Los Angeles. I was living in Los Angeles, and the call came to Los Angeles, and they were going to monitor it in Washington at the same time, and New York. And they wanted me to audition for it. So I went into my voiceover agent, Tischerman, and waited for the guy who was going to do the Irish monk. And he didn't show up. And I had a script for about 19 pages with this conversation. And I said to the technician, I said, could you read the thing with me? And she said, no, I can't do that. And I said, oh shucks, well, I'll have to do it myself then. So it starts out something like this. The Irish monk has been sent out by the bishop, the Irish bishop, to talk to the Vikings and find out about the Vikings. So it started out, so I had to like change my voice. And what I did was, the Irish monk, I pictured him like rather small. And I pictured the Viking as a very big one. And I started out with the Irish monk, and he says, hey, tell me, Mr. Viking. He said, why did you call it Greenland? I mean, there's nothing green there, it's all ice and snow and everything. Well, I tell you, we needed to call it something else than Snowland, because nobody would ever go there. So what I did was I changed the voice. So anyway, this tape went into the guys and they listened to it and they said, oh shucks, well he could do both the parts. So I did both the parts. Yeah. Thanks to that actor never showed up to do the Irish monk, I got both the parts. I did the Irish monk talking to the Viking, and now I'm a permanent institution at the Smithsonian Institution. I'm very, very comfortable with the camera. It's almost easier for me with the film and television. I mean, film is the best, I think, as a medium. It's because you take your time and you can, it's a little more affordable as far as working. So that's not a big deal, but it doesn't matter in a sense, because once I get into a part on stage, immerse myself in it, it becomes my life. I mean, I find my identity in the parts. I mean, I am more comfortable doing this work or doing the parts than I am in my own skin in some ways, because then I know what I'm doing. It's almost like I find myself in the different parts. It's like reincarnations. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, did I do that, or did I do that thing? I've never felt that I did that in my own life.
That's not really me.
Right.
What studios did you like to work in best of all? I mean, Warner's or Paramount, or where?
I worked mostly at Universal, but I did some work at Warner Brothers. I did the Jay Leno show. I played a Swedish Santa Claus, and I had these glasses, and I had a big beard.
What would you say to young people today who would like to do what you did, who might listen to this and say, boy, that's a great life that guy had? Would you tell them to go ahead and follow their dream?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's marvelous to do. I mean, I got so much out of leaving. I left when I was 20 years old. I mean, it's a long time ago. It's 58. The world was very different, but I moved, and I didn't just go away for a vacation like most young people nowadays, or they run around the world in a year or something. I went to a place and I stayed there. I mean, New York to me was an incredible, it was the whole world. And I mean, I got so much experience from going there, and it took a while before I really got what it was all about. That there is so much freedom in being with people from all over the world, and we cannot get that anywhere else but I think New York. I mean, New York to me was not USA, was not America, it was the whole world.
It's where you blew the whole station.
Yes.
You actually
yes.
made a film here.
Yes, that was actually a package under where I sat. Now, this TV show, it was a series. It was called The Black Circle.
Okay.
And there has never been a more frightening shot done in Swedish films than was done here.
In Centralen?
Yeah. And I was playing a bomb, a real knockout bomb, And I was sitting down on that bench down there, all the way down there, on the side. Now, when I sitting there and I'm drunk, and I was eating an apple, and then suddenly I dropped the apple down into this bag that was underneath, and I see in that bag there is a big thing in the bag. And suddenly I realized that there was a bomb, a big bomb, and it goes, pow! Oh, the whole Grand Central Station in Stockholm is exploded. And I'm up in the air, up all the way up there, and I was up in pieces, in pieces. Oh, it was tragedy. I was so drunk. I was so drunk, but it was a good shot.
It was a good shot.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
How many times do you have to do that?
One time only.
Only one time?
Yeah, one time only.
Thank you.